Hey guys, welcome back to Libro Review. I hope you're doing very nice and I'm sending a lot of hugs and positivity to all of you. In today's video, I am going to be recommending 10 non-fiction books that you can read over this year, and these are the only 10 books you will need to read in order to develop yourself to the best version of yourself. I feel like all these books that I'm going to recommend you right now will help you in an overall development, and just read these 10 books over the entire year. 10 books over the entire year and you will be good to go. So let's begin. I don't have the physical copies of all the books because some of them I read as an audiobook or as an ebook, but okay, the first book that I want to recommend is You Do You by Sarah Knight. So You Do You is more about self-empowerment. If you do not have confidence in yourself, or you keep telling yourself that you're not good enough, you indulge yourself into self-sabotage, then this is the book for you. This also does teach you how to not give a fuck. Now, talking about that book, that book focuses on not giving a fuck to other people or a lot of shit, but it is also self-empowering. So basically speaking, both these books have both these elements, but in this book the self-empowerment element is a little more, and in that book the not giving a fuck element is a little more. But both these books are super candid, super cool. I love the author, and they also have exercises that you can do, and it will really help you. So make sure you read either one of these books. The next book I want to recommend is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. There are a lot of pronunciations out there. I googled it this time. It is a spiritual or philosophical read, so it will cover that part for you. It is all about ego. So we can define ego in two ways. One ego is the ego that we all know anyhow, or how psychology defines it. The second ego that is described in this book is about how there is this another personality within us that we have accepted as ourselves, but it is actually a result of our past experiences and how people have treated us and what the situations do to us. So truly, we have the higher intelligence that is taking care of everything in our body and in our life, and it is easy for us to be calm and peaceful. But it is our ego that always wants to win over us and always wants to be powerful, because of which it always looks at the negative side of life, reminding you that no, it's not that easy to be calm, or no, there are other people saying stuff to you, and you think that you are your ego. So you start taking action in that direction, and you are not able to do what you want to do. I hope that made sense. So if you want to read about ego, if you want to become a calmer, more peaceful person, if you want to have a new earth for yourself where everything is amazing, read this book. Remember that the language is extremely tough in this book. It's tough to focus while reading this book, but if you can take some time, even 1 month, and finish this book, it is going to help you big time. The next book I want to recommend is a creative book, which is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. Elizabeth Gilbert has become my recent favorite. I've had her book since a long time, but I did not read it. Then I read this book and I was like, oh my god, her writing style is beautiful. This book is about how creativity does not have to be, dying in like sadness and a lot of darkness in order to come up with something beautiful. That is not the only way to get creative. It is all about how you need courage in order to be creative. And what I believe is that all the things said in this book can also be applied to your real life. Creativity is a lifestyle. You don't have to adopt 2 or 3 things only that make you creative. Creativity is a lifestyle, and the biggest element of that lifestyle is courage. So if you want to boost your creativity for life or even your art, then you must read this book. The next book I'm going to recommend is something that I recently finished reading. It is Notes on a Nervous Planet by Matt Haig. It was there on my TBR, so I'm happy I finished it, but I'm gonna reread it again because of how beautiful it was. Like, my brain was like, push. Now the thing is that the entire writing style and the structure of this book is like notes, as if the author is writing different notes every single day or something like that. So that's the reason like the title is relevant to the book. On the other hand, it is all about how in today's world we are just taking issues like mental health, our physical health and our mental peace basically for granted, and we think that being stressful is a default thing for human beings, whereas it's not. Stress is not something that you can just push away. It is something that has to be treated. So first it describes all the reasons as to how our planet, us human beings, are slowly and slowly losing our mind, and then the author talks about all the solutions to it. I love the way it has been written in, like it is very simple to read, but when you read it there will be like tongue in your brain because of, you'll be like, oh my good lord, what did this guy just say? So it's that beautiful. Please do read it if you want to read a little about mental health or a good lifestyle. The next book I want to recommend is Atomic Habits by James Clear. No other book except this in order to build habits. Just kidding, you can also pick up The Power of Habit, and I have more recommendations which I will recommend later on. But if I would recommend only one book right now in order to build habits, which is one of the biggest parts in life in order to have a good lifestyle, a good life, habits, then pick this book up. It just had these simple 4 laws that will help you to build habits. How you make your habit attractive, how you make it satisfying, how you make it rewarding. It also talks about how you can break your old habits. So it's not only about building stuff, it's also about breaking the bad stuff. It is super easy to read, super practical. So if you want to build habits, please pick this book up. The next book I'm going to recommend is Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. Always going to take his name like that. I've not read this book yet, but it is on my TBR, but I know for a fact that this is one of the best books out there if you want to get into the content market. While saying that, I just got reminded of another book. It's Fast, Cheap and Viral by Ashish Chopra. I recently reviewed it on my Instagram. Both these books are yellow. Now this is a deep strategy, not only about content creation and how to reach people, but also about how you can make money through it, how you can monetize it, how you can develop this relation with your audience. So that's the reason, and it's Gary Vee, dude, of course. He's like the guru of social media. So that is the reason I am recommending this book as a must read if you want to get into content. But along with that, because I recently reviewed this book, if you are not going to read this fat and thick book and you're just starting out, then you can also read this Fast, Cheap, Viral by Ashish Chopra, because this also is written by a man who was like kicked out of college. He left college, he was kicked out of his job, and then he made this video and it went viral, and now he's like living the life of his dreams and all those kind of things. And yeah, so any of these books are good. The next book I want to talk about is Unfuck Your Brain. Oh my god, I read it as an ebook. It is one of my most favorite books on mental health. It talks about the entire science behind mental health. What happens when somebody has anxiety, what happens when somebody has depression, what is actually going on in the brain physically, how these are the problems. These are like physical problems, they are not just something in the head, shit like that. Also how you can recover from trauma, how you can actually lead a better life and improve your mental health. So if you want to read a book on mental health, I am telling you, go nowhere else and read this book. The next book I want to recommend is Mindful to Mindful by Om Swami. I do not have that book right now because my friend is reading it, but again, it is one of the best books I've ever read in my life. It is all about how mindfulness can change your life for better, and I follow a lot of things from that book. It took me time to develop those habits, but I do follow a lot of techniques from that book, and it has helped me big time. I have become like this really calm person over here. There's a lot more to achieve, but I have achieved a lot through that book. So if you want to become a more mindful person, if you want to have like a better lifestyle which is calm, which is easygoing, which gives you happiness and well-being, then you must pick that book up. Coming to communication, the next book I want to recommend is Talk Less, Say More. It is another book that I recently read, and oh my good lord, it is meant for, see, you can use it like for your business and everything. It is basically meant for one-to-one conversation. Now I'm not going to tell you it is a book for like public speaking. It is more for like sales or your day-to-day life with your family and friends and those kind of things. It just talks about 3 things that you need to remember: connect, convey and convince, in order to talk less but say a lot more. It helps you in delivering your message, in expressing yourself in the best way possible. I love that book so much. After so long, I read a book on communication and I got something from it. It has these crazy facts that I never noticed before about how the mind perceives messages when somebody says it. So yeah, I really like that book. It's really easy to read. So if you want to read something related to communication, make sure you read that book. Last but not the least, I want to recommend Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. Now this is one book that I am going to get a paperback of. It is all about, it's for overall personal development, also about how you can get rid of procrastination and more about time management. Now that's what it says on the cover, but when I read it, I felt like there were a lot more points that we can use in our life in order to have an overall personal growth. It is about this frog and how there are good frogs and bad frogs in your brain, and it's kind of fictionalized. And that's what I really like about it, because it's not heavy on the brain and it's short. And if you don't want to read that, you can read another extremely fictitious book, which is Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. That book is about these 2 tiny creatures and 2 mice who have cheese every single day, but one day that cheese just goes away. Now the thing is that the 2 tiny people and the 2 mice, they are almost like in competition with each other. The 2 mice do get cheese again, but these people are not getting it, and it's the entire story of what happens with the cheese, who moved their cheese and how do they get it back. But at the same time, it's really short, but at the same time it teaches you so many lessons. It is a gem. So you can either read Eat That Frog, or you can read Who Moved My Cheese, any one of them, and that is it. These were the 10 books. I know I recommended 12 books. I talked about 2 more books, but they are for you can either read it if you want, if you have the time, or you can just replace it with the other book that I have recommended, depending upon your need. This was it for today. I hope you liked the video. I hope it provided value to you. If it did, please make sure you're sharing it as much as possible with all your friends and family. Thank you so much for everything that you have already been doing. It means so much to me. On Thursday, I'm going to recommend more books, but they will be fictitious. So these are the only 10 books for your TBR in 2020 for non-fiction, and on Thursday I'm coming up with that video where you can make your TBR for fiction. So that's it. Stay tuned. Tuesday, Thursday, on Sunday coming up with the weekly vlog. Oh my god, that is it. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.